I know you've listened tentatively to all of the discussions that we've had, and I know you and I have spoken, and I guess first, if you could just maybe explain to the committee the differences between this bill and the bill we just heard, and why we need your bill.
Okay. What I want to say, I know you all got this, at least I hope you did, but when I looked at and decided I wanted to carry this bill, it was because, and I want to make it clear, that I truly believe in what is in this bill. Now, the difference with this bill and Representative Baham is that this would exempt fully those 500 hours, the fee, and also the examination. But I want to tell you this. What I did, I talked to Representative Baham, I talked to Representative Butler, I looked at those tapes that was from last year, I looked at tapes that go back to 2017, 2018, when Representative Emerson carried similar bills pertaining to this, and I tried to go out and get more research. I have heard everything. I'm not going to try to repeat it because I know you're tired, and you're tired of hearing this, but I want to point out something, and this is one of the reasons why I'm asking you to give me the same opportunity. This is what I want to do. I also want you all to move favorable on this bill and allow me to work with the Cosmetology Board and Representative Baham. And the reason why you all, most of you all, maybe some of you all, have seen individuals' hairs being braided. This is a safe process. This is not, and what's more interesting is that when I was doing the research, it was 34 states, you all, 34 at the time, which was a couple of days, weeks ago. Now it's 37, but these states do not have these restrictions. The states, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Maine, Kentucky, Maryland, Michigan, Mississippi, Nebraska, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, and I also was told New Mexico. If this was a bad thing, I just don't believe these states would allow this. And I know it's some good out of this. I know most of you, especially if you're African Americans, you have seen hair being braided, and many of your family members. For 40 years, you all, for 40 years, I have gone to a hair salon to get my hair done. And for many of those years, I went once a week. It was a perm. It was wash and set and maybe a color. But the range of that was from $35 to $70. My 4 daughters, when they were living with me, went and got their hair done at a salon. So I am appreciative of the board and what they do. But I also know that 2 of my daughters now, they go and get their hair braided. Sometimes they go into a shop where there is a certified person there. And sometimes they choose to go to just the person, because they live in Texas, go to the person who's just going to braid. Most of the time they go, they've already washed their hair, and they want to sit down and allow them to braid the hair. And truly, they do pay to do and have that done. But again, you all, I'm aware of some young kids, 18 and 19, want to go to these schools, cosmetology, get their life, but they can't afford it up front. But later on, if they were to get through it and all of that, yes, they would be able to, have more income. But up front, they cannot. They cannot afford, $25,000? And from what I was told, in some place, you got to pay that up front. Now, 500 hours, you all, to go through this process to braid. I looked and talked to Representative Baham. I'm in agreement to look at the things that he mentioned. I think that's good. I am not going to rehash everything you all heard. What I do know is that out of 50 states, if this was a bad thing, and you heard these states, they would not be passing this. Because from what my research shows that, and I'm going to repeat it because I heard it, in 2019, Mississippi, they had 6,714 registered braiders in Mississippi, just next door. Here in Louisiana, just a handful, somewhere between 19 and 40 braiders. registered braiders. That's the information I got. So I see this as an opportunity to help people. We want them to be sufficient, and we want them to thrive. We want them to take their God-given gift. And most of them already have experience. They've been braiding hair since they were 2 and 3 with baby dolls, and then with family members. And so all I'm saying, but it's going to help us. It's going to create job opportunities. It's going to help families come out of poverty, because in my district, I know I got constituents who want this opportunity. But I also know they're doing it illegal. And I want them to have a clear conscience.
However, I do want to share a little bit of personal experience with you all. So I went to law school in the great state of Louisiana, up the street at Tulane in New Orleans. And for 3 years, I got my hair braided by an undergraduate student who was originally from Nigeria. She gave me box braids, cornrows, anything you can think of, she gave it to me. And Representative Knox, my kitchen is still intact. My scalp is still healthy. My edges are still together. And that student used the money that I was giving her on the side to pay for college expenses, just like so many people who are braiding hair illegally right now are using this income to make ends meet. And what that undergraduate student was doing under Louisiana's current law is illegal. And that's just not right. Representative Moore's bill does that. It allows the consumer the discretion to be able to decide if they would like to go to the licensed permit braider or go to another braider. I moved to Austin, Texas, after law school to work for the Texas legislature. Austin is not a very diverse city. And I went to a licensed cosmetologist to just get a simple silk press. That means straightening up the hair with the flat iron. All of my hair, I had to chop it off. All of it, after one visit to a licensed cosmetologist. So I think that in our culture, our hair texture is so different. It's so unique. Everyone's hair is different. And so at a certain point, the discretion is truly on the consumer. And Representative Moore's bill allows for that to happen. Page 4, lines 16 through 18, is where Representative Moore's bill is stating that individuals are no longer required to obtain the permit. So you're correct that the 500 hours is the current law for the 500 hours for the alternative hair permit. It would remain the same. Current law would remain the same in this bill. However, it would now be an option for braiders to obtain this permit, not a requirement.
Licensed by the Cosmetology Board.
My apologies, it's actually line 13 through 15. Nothing in this section shall be construed to require an individual to obtain or hold an alternative hair designer certificate to practice natural hair braiding.
So that negates the 500 hours of instruction. Is that correct?
It's just stating that a person is no longer required to obtain those 500 hours. However, we're keeping current law. If a person would like to go and obtain that permit, they would still be able to. So Representative Moore's bill creates 2 options. The option for individuals that would like to braid to take the coursework required and pay the fees and all of those things for the alternative hair permit, but it also allows for them to braid hair legally without obtaining this permit. So therefore, the girl in an undergrad dorm room who doesn't have this permit has the option one day to go get this permit and then would be held to these standards. And if these standards are current law. So I think that's something that I don't want to speak for Representative Moore that we'd be able to chat with you about later. Sure. But her bill does provide the option for both.
To the concern of my colleague, wouldn't your college mate be arrested by the hair police?
No, Representative Knox. She would, under this bill. Under this, if Representative Moore's bill passed as is, there again, it would be the option, no longer the requirement to have the alternative hair permit. So therefore, she would be able to braid hair legally without having the permit. And if in a couple years she wished to obtain the permit, that option would still be available to her.
So then it is true that there is no criminal element to someone who is braiding hair in a college dorm or on the front porch or on the front stoop as of right now. Is that correct?
And it's my understanding, Representative Knox, if I wanted someone to just right now braid my hair and not charge me a fee, that's not in violation. But if there is money, then there is a violation. And when I was doing some research on this, I think what it was is that current law, if someone is braiding hair and not certified, licensed to do it, and you're found out, it didn't say you go to jail. It just said that there is a fine, if I'm not mistaken, of $5,000, or you're in violation of any of their guidelines, or they can suspend your license, and you would have to pay all court dues.